Down and Dirty. Tips and tricks for keeping your plane out of the shop. Starring Steve's Dirty Hands. Today, stop letting the ground push your motor around. Hey there, the Hands here again with some carbon fiber and a carbon fiber clipper. And what do we got here? This is a plane, and like every plane, it has a foam motor wall, if it's a Foamie, and those foam motor walls are pretty weak for things like impacts on the front, which hit the motor, which will mush the motor wall, make it weak, or tear it out, or do other things you don't want to happen. So you can reinforce your motor wall really easily by putting rods in front of the motor across the motor wall and in back of the motor across the motor wall. Usually in the front we go above it and below it, and behind we go on either side of it. But in this here Mustang, if you want to not make any holes that won't get covered, you can peel off one of these exhaust ports and drill right from here. So we determined where the motor wall is. You can just do that with a stick, right? You put it back until it hits said motor wall, right? And it's right there. So what I did was scratch a line where the front of the foam is. Then we put our stick back in and we find the actual plastic motor wall itself. So put it all the way back until it hits the plastic. I got my thumb, I put it up to my thumb again, there's the plastic. So we scratched a line right there. Then the plastic's 1/4 inch thick. So we go in front of and behind the plastic in the foam in the motor wall. In this particular plane, we were able to get a rod that cuts right across the corner here and ends up in the foam down here. Kind of hard to see, but the motor wall foam goes down to here. So down like that at an angle and across like this over the motor. Same thing in the back, one in front, one in back, 4 rods, and we just glued them in with some of this foam tack. You just dip it and get a glob of foam tack on it, and then get the foam tack into the hole using the rod. And with foam tack, you want to wait for a few seconds anyways, maybe 10 or 15 seconds. It's contact cement, so you don't want to wait too long. You won't be able to get the rod back into the hole, but you want to give it a chance to get kind of tacky on the rod and in the hole, so that it should be more difficult to push into the hole after you have let it get to the right tackiness. Those are the 2 bottom rods, and here are the 2 top rods. And there we are, right? 2 in front, 2 in back. Now my motor wall is way stronger than it was before. So I put my manifold back on. It covers over all of those rods, and that's it. Done. My motor wall is way stronger than it was before, and I haven't even made a visible hole. There it is, the Hands, and some tape, and some... the Hands. See you on the flight line.
Woohoo!